Hello, and welcome to Event 360 Summer School Shorts. I'm Joanne Buckley Collins, our fundraising and communication strategist. Today, I'm here with account manager Erin Piofsky and event production coordinator Jason Page, and we're going to talk about on-event volunteers. Volunteers are the heart of any successful event. As you know, they can greet guests, manage key event activations, and volunteers can bring the energy that makes everything come together. So the way you recruit, engage, and manage volunteers can make or break the event experience for everyone, including your participants, staff, spectators, and of course, the volunteers themselves. So Erin and Jason are going to share some strategies today for how to get it right. So my first question is for Jason. What's your strategy for finding great event volunteers?
We generally try to look at about 6 to 8 weeks out as far as lead time to make sure that we're able to get folks in, start communicating with them, get them the information they need so that they can be successful in whatever role they choose. Um, some of the things that we, try to hit, to do the recruiting, social media. Look at your past volunteer lists, some of our partner organizations, schools, corporate groups, and as always, there's an app for that somewhere. Are there any perks for them giving their time? Are they able to sign off some community service hours for some of our high school, college age students? Branded swag, always a big deal. Obviously, the best one out there, snacks. Got to have snacks.
Good snacks can go a long way. Because in general, like recruiting volunteers shouldn't be about you just trying to beg for free labor, but it should be inviting people to share in a meaningful experience. And that's how you can recruit really good volunteers. So my next question is for Erin. So how do you keep those volunteers informed and engaged leading up to the event?
Yeah, and kind of stemming off what you guys have both said, you have to approach it with the understanding that you may have volunteers who are very familiar with the organization or the event and who have a long history with them. You may have volunteers who are high school students coming out for some service hours and it's their first exposure to this event. You have to cater your communication to apply to all of these audiences and speak on the same level to all of them. So you want to give a little bit of background about what the event is, what the organization is, in case they are totally unfamiliar with it, but don't overwhelm them with so much information. Using a lot of hyperlinks inside your email communications is a great idea. That way they can read more about the organization if they want to, but really just give the basic details up front and then a little bit more detailed messaging as you get closer to the event. When we have a volunteer who's signed up for a shift that we have open that we were looking to fill, we always send them a confirmation email letting them know their registration's been received, thanking them for their time. You can never thank your volunteers enough. And then we kind of keep things quiet until we're about a week to 10 days out from the event. And then we'll check in again with here are some details you'll need about where to park, what to wear, what time we expect you to be there, or who to check in with. And so those details come a little bit later. But these are ways that you can keep the volunteer community engaged without really inundating them. We all know what it's like to be on the receiving end of an organization or a cause or a sender who sends you an email every single day. It gets to be a little much. So we try and balance that out between getting them the information they need to keep them engaged and excited about coming out and helping with the event, and not quite overdoing it, but keep making sure that they are going to want to come out and want to come back.
You want your volunteers to feel like they're in good hands and not like they're working for an organization that's super panicked and doesn't know what they're doing. So because any communication, whether you're talking to your participants or staff or volunteers, you want everyone to feel prepared before they arrive on site. So speaking of arriving on site, Jason, what are some examples of the kinds of tasks that volunteers can do once they're on an event?
Well, we have a lot of things for the volunteers to do. And it's great to have, a good group of people that are going to come out and, span tasks across the spectrum of any event. We have folks that arrive early, help with morning setup, placing the trash bins, ensuring they have liners, setting up the tables for, a myriad of different tents and activations, putting the snacks and water out, managing through the event. A lot of times these volunteers, they come out, they just want to be engaging with, their participants and the folks that are coming out to these events. They're going to staff tables. They're going to be at booths. They're going to be at the photo booth, helping everybody get that awesome selfie or, the picture to take back to, show all their friends or put on social. Staffing a tribute wall. There's a ton of opportunities where they can engage and they can be part of the entire event itself while still serving. We have folks that go out and they kind of want to be behind the scenes. They work with the route marking teams, help manage the route. A lot of times they'll be the human sign, that person on the road that says, "You're going the wrong way, come with me."
So next question's for Erin. What are your tips for making event day run smoothly for volunteers?
You definitely have to go in with a plan. And with event day volunteers, we do find that often people will sign up and then something will come up and they won't end up showing. So we do plan for a certain amount of attrition. That some percentage of the number of volunteers who signed up in advance are maybe not going to show up. And you have to account for that as you're getting ready and deciding who's going to go where. We do like to ask volunteers where they would like to be placed, what sort of job they would like to do, all those things Jason was mentioning. And we do try and accommodate those requests when we can, but we also try and make it really clear in advance to the volunteers that the needs of the event come first. And we appreciate any flexibility that they can offer once they get out there. So, assuming you have a group of volunteers who are willing to go where they're needed, you can see who shows up, how many people you have, fill your most critical needs first. And then you can fill in some of the extra things like the photo booth attendant or things like that, as long as you've got all your route marshals in place and somebody to hand out t-shirts and help with registration. You can also look to volunteers to fill more than one position. Say you've got somebody who's showed up early, they're helping you staff the volunteer tent itself to check other volunteers in. Once that's done, you can move them out onto the course somewhere or move them over to the end finish line water and snack table. But you come in with an idea of how many people you need where, the absolute minimum you can get by if you happen to be running short on volunteers. And then flexibility is the name of the game. Just be willing to roll with the changes, make adjustments as needed. Thank your volunteers consistently as you go through. Thank them for their flexibility, for being there. Let them know that their time and effort is so greatly appreciated.
To wrap it up, do you have like one final tip for people to remember about working with volunteers?
These events absolutely could not happen without volunteers. They are the unsung heroes of bringing these events to life. If you think about kind of what we do from our perspective as an event company, we may send two, three, or four, maybe five staff people out to one of these events to work. Everything else that keeps the event moving comes from volunteers. So don't treat them like a secondary thought, like an afterthought for your event. Prioritize the recruitment of volunteers and engaging those volunteers so that they'll come back when you come emailing again next year and saying that event's coming back to your neighborhood. We'd love to see you again.
A volunteer today could be a donor tomorrow, could be a fundraiser the following year. So
Absolutely.
you definitely want to like nurture that relationship and keep them engaged. So thanks again for joining me for Summer School Shorts, and everyone stay tuned for next week.